Welcome to Your City Connections, where you get to meet entertaining and informative guests. Guests such as an artist with a brush or with a camera, and a guest with a violin. City Connections, providing insightful interviews with favorite son Lieutenant Governor Todd Lamb, to city commissioners, the mayor. Interviews with a rodeo queen, to beauty queen, and even an NBA player. Now, join Steve Kime as he discusses another engaging topic on City Connections.
Welcome to City Connections. This is our holiday safety show for the year, and I appreciate you joining us. Have you got your Christmas list out? Are you adding to it? Or are you checking things off the list? Well, before you fulfill that list and purchase everything, we need to talk about holiday safety. And what better way to do that than with Sheriff Jerry Niles. Sheriff?
Steve, it's always good to be with you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Holiday safety is our program. So right off the bat, Sheriff, what tips do you have in regard to safe shopping? And the reason I asked is the other day I was at the checkout stand or the register, and a young lady opened up her wallet, and it looked like there's about 47 credit cards on one side, and it just seemed like pretty vulnerable the way that she had everything displayed. So when it comes to wallets and purses and credit cards, what are some safety tips?
Well, a good safety tip on that, Steve, that you bring up the point is, if you're not going to use them, keep them at home on credit cards. Manage your money a little more safely than that. And you got to think of that piece of plastic is money. It's a lot of power in someone's hand. So secure those. If you're not going to use them, put them in a secure place at home. Keep them at home. If you need to, rotate them out. Don't, like you say, don't keep 25 or 30 credit cards in your purse or wallet.
Excuse me, I didn't want to simplify things, but that was my thought exactly. You're in this one particular store, but why do you need 43 credit cards? Right. So that's good to know, and it's probably, a difficult practice to say, okay, I'm going to go here, here, and here, so therefore I only need 3 or 4 cards. But I guess the common sense part of me says, well, I don't need all 50 cards when I go shopping.
No, you shouldn't, because you have to think of those as your credit history, and also, and they are placed the financial power you have too. So, something you need to really be cognitive of and watch out for.
When a young woman gets out of her car and she is walking through the parking lot going into the store, or she's in a popular mall and she's walking with your purse, there may be some real common sense tips that maybe we have forgotten about, but from a sheriff department perspective, what are some recommendations that you have for ladies and their purses?
Purses, I know, I don't carry a purse, so I don't know. I know they're a fashion statement. We have all sizes. If you are going to carry your purse, crossed over your body where it's not just hung over your shoulder, or wrap it around your wrist a couple of times. Smaller purses are a lot easier to control, a lot easier to handle. Also, you have less likelihood of having other additional valuables in your purse. So those are things you need to think about. You need to think about your surroundings. When you're out shopping, make sure you walk in well-lit areas if after dark. Walk with a friend.
We want to talk a little bit about protecting themselves by the way they park in a parking lot. But before we do that, on the other side of the purse, let's talk a little bit about the wallets. In some countries, the men have that wallet in their front pocket all the time.
Right.
Here in Oklahoma, you can kind of see what kind of brand the wallet is with the impression of the jeans and so forth. Is there some safety issues, even though we talk about purses so often, but are there safety issues for men to be mindful of with, say, that billfold in their back pocket?
That's true too, and there's a lot of men do carry a cash clip in their front pocket, and some of those are designed now where you can have your driver's license and a credit card. So I see a trend more people going to the front pocket on that. But pickpockets also there's some that are sharp enough out there to be able to pick your front pocket too. So just be cognitive of what you have and your surroundings again.
Again, you have the opportunity to park in a strip mall area or a grocery store parking lot, or even a large mall environment. So as you pull into the mall, what are some steps that individuals can take, families, men and women, single women, what steps can they take about just protecting themselves? I think the obvious is, sure, park as close as you can to the front door and under the light. But during the holiday season, you're going to be lucky just to get on the parking lot. So.
Usually, the best time is also make sure you park. If you have to walk out with a group of people. If you have a keyless entry, make sure its battery's up on it and it's operable. So when you get close to your car, that you can unlock your vehicle. Make sure your key is in your hand as you're walking out. You don't have to fumble for it as you're trying to get all your packages and things. Those are just little things you have to think about ahead of time. And once you get those plans in effect and you keep practicing them, it becomes routine. Keys in your hand as you're going out to your car. Being cognitive of what's going on around you. Stay off the cell phone when you're walking. It's paying attention to your surroundings. That's why inattentive driving. We're so big on inattentive driving now. Inattentive walking will get you just as bad as inattentive driving.
And that was going to lead me to one of my next questions, because you can see individuals who leave a store and they barely remember walking out the door because they're so involved in that phone conversation, and they may be so absorbed in that conversation as they walk to their car that they're just completely unaware of their surroundings.
And it's amazing. You see that several times on video surveillance about when people get their purses swiped or something happens to them, or bags, shopping bags ripped off because they're on the phone or not paying attention to their surroundings.
Well, it's, as I would say, a crying shame that our world has turned to something like this, but we do have to be mindful that we don't have the freedom or the relaxed freedom anymore to just be on the phone and walk to our car without being concerned about being assaulted or anything like that.
I think it comes around in cycles. It really does. If we look back through history, there was points in our past that we've had the same problems, and we're having them. It's cyclic. We're having them again.
Thank you for joining us on City Connections, the holiday safety show that we're providing you today, and my special guest is Sheriff Jerry Niles. Jerry, the other day, my wife, she said, "Steve, come look at this," and it was an email from a financial firm that she does business with, and it was so identical, and it said something along the lines that there's been too many login attempts on your account. Please log on again, provide this. And it was so fraudulent. It was so, well, it looked like the real deal. It looked like the real deal. But she was so alarmed because she goes, no, that's not me, and I'm not going to provide all these answers to the questions that you're wanting. This fraudulent business is out of control.
It is. The internet is rampant with it. A lot of times, especially with people who have Yahoo emails, they'll get an email on their account saying that you need to update your password and your safety code word for your Yahoo account. When you go up and you look and find out where it's coming from, and it's coming from an AOL account, that's not from Yahoo. That's a good clue. That's a good indicator.
When we talk about fraud prevention, and a lot of individuals may have experienced this, but we're a phone call away from being defrauded, I guess, and also we're one letter in the mail away. It seems like with mails coming in that to claim X amount of money, provide this, or you'll get that phone call and say, oh, by the way, your account, we need this information, and you'll get $250,000. So that still seems to be alive and well, right?
It is. If you get a phone call from someone that says that you've won the Canadian lottery, and for $199 handling fee, they will mail you the check. All you have to do is go down to your local drugstore and pick up a Green Dot credit card, come back and call them back with the account number. They'll mail your check. That's fraud. If it sounds too good to be true, it's going to be too good to be true. I don't know how many Nileses have died in the Middle East or on the African continent that I've got a heritage for. If I just send them some information, that I'd inherit some money. That's been going on for years. The old Nigerian and Liberia frauds in there, and it's no different now on the internet and on our phone. We're getting phone messages. People are getting phone messages they've won some money, or there's another one out there now. with a young male or young female, and they prey on the elderly people, and they convince them that they're a grandchild and they need bond money. They're in jail in Montreal, or they're in jail in New Orleans, and if they'll wire them the money so they can get out of jail. And they have enough information that it makes them convincing for about the first 5 minutes of the conversation. These are frauds too that have been committed. It even happened in Garfield County recently.
Yeah. You know, we've been talking holiday safety in regards to shopping, as in internet shopping, parking lot safety, in-store. Is there anything that we've kind of overlooked when it comes to the shopping? We want to talk about residential safety here in just a little bit, Jerry, but is there anything that we've overlooked that the Sheriff Department has encountered in regard to holiday shopping, as for people actually, purchasing gifts and all?
When you do purchase your gifts, and I know you're out at different stores, place all your gifts in the trunk of your vehicle.
Okay.
If you don't have a trunk, if you're in a SUV or a pickup, cover them with a blanket. Put them down low on the back floorboard, out of sight. Cover them up as much as you can. When you're out shopping, those people that are acting suspicious, be cognitive of that. You don't know who's scoping out things. On big purchase items, and this will be after you get them home. The big screen TVs, don't leave the empty boxes out by the trash can. If you can, take them to another dumpster. Just basically, you're advertising what you have, what you've received. So those are things that you need to think about.
And I've heard that after Christmas morning, you see what everybody got for Christmas by looking at the curb.
You look out on the curb,
and you're just advertising. We got this, and again, I guess we're in this world, or at this time in our world, that we have to go that extra mile to be a little bit safer.
And another thing on jewelry, if you're going to a high-end jewelry store, or even just an average jewelry store, make sure you get your receipts. A lot of diamonds now are micro numbered. They have a micro number somewhere on the diamonds. Make sure those are recorded and keep those documents in a safe place. Also take photographs of any of your jewelry. So we, as law enforcement, we can be able to get those out and be able to get that information out quicker and be able to identify proper.
And I believe for insurance purposes as well, that insurance companies will encourage people to take pictures of different items that they have. Well, let's move our topic to, say, the country setting. You overseen, if you will, Garfield County. So, Jerry, if you live in a country setting, what are some of the preventive measures that individuals can take just to make sure that their property is safe and secure?
Lighting is very important. Securing doors, gates, outbuildings. Taking the keys out of the cars. Don't leave keys in your vehicles. Again, recording your phone number, your serial numbers and things like that. And this goes not only for out in the country, but inside. Sure. Also, you need to look at the things around your house that make you safe. Those shadow areas. Your landscape is your shrubs, your trees, are something that can hide people from seeing other people break into the houses. The thing that can happen, that I encourage out in the county, is if you're gone for extended periods of time, to contact our office. We have a house watch program. You get us the address, and if you're going to have lights on or other people coming to check on your house, we get that information, and we have extra patrols that go out in that area.
And Jerry, what is the number for them to call if they say, okay, we're going to be gone 3 or 4 or 5 days, we need to take advantage of this house watch service? What number would they call?
Okay, if you live outside of Enid, we cover outside of Enid and all the
city
other
limits.
It'd be 237-0240. That's 237-0240. I know the city of Enid also offers it, the Enid Police Department, and they're 242-7000.
Okay. Well, we have a few more questions for Sheriff Jerry Niles on our holiday safety program in regards to City Connections, and we'll have more with the sheriff right after this. Welcome back to City Connections. Thank you for staying with us today. And this is our holiday safety show for you this year. Jerry, I'm one of those Griswold kind of Christmas guys. I like lights, and you turn the lights on at my house, that whole neighborhood kind of goes down a little bit with the power surge. I like a lot of lights. And one thing that we do not do is put our Christmas tree in front of a window for people to drive by and see how pretty the tree is and the gifts and stuff like that. Are we to the point that we need to be very private about our tree and our displays inside our house? Because I guess if you have that prominent tree and gifts around there, is that a welcome mat to someone?
I don't think the tree itself is. I think everyone, anyone that is involved in the criminal element, they're going to know people are going to have valuables regardless. So I don't think that's
Okay.
going to the excess of taking your tree away from the window, because I personally like to see trees in windows.
Yeah, it's festive,
Yeah.
holiday-ish, if I can use that word. Well, we've been talking holiday safety and mainly with Christmas and everything, Sheriff Niles, but let me ask you this question. The other 11 months out of the year, what's the Garfield County Sheriff's Department doing to make our county safe? I know you're working extra hours during the holidays, but
actually we work extra hours all the time.
Right.
We go out and we check. We put out flyers. We educate the public. We talk with different groups. When we have crime victims, we do follow-ups with them. We try and encourage people to make sure their serial numbers are recorded. We make sure they report things in a timely manner. And we do a lot of community discussions, either through venues like this or the radio or the newspaper. And we really encourage people to get their serial numbers. Every one of my deputies is, even though they have some of them have different assignments, but our deputy sheriff is a crime fighter. He's an investigator, a problem solver. So we try and solve these problems as quick as we can. I have a great team of investigators, not a whole lot of investigators. I have 2 investigators, but they work with all the other deputies on follow-ups. So to encourage, our biggest thing is to educate the public and encourage them to record serial numbers, report as quick as they can, and report anything suspicious. And we have a great bunch of citizens out there that call us all the time on suspicious activity, which we're thankful for. It helps out tremendously. Neighbors watching after neighbors, that's the whole key to a good community. Strong fences build good neighbors. In a rural area, that's good. That's a good saying. But that's the thing that most citizens need to really think about, is developing good relationships with your neighbors and families that can keep an eye out on your property when you're gone, and you do the same thing for them.
Because if something's not right or you sense that it's not right, well, I'd rather err on the overcautious side and make that phone call.
And it's good for the community to get involved. For someone to say, well, it's not my problem. Well, yeah, in a way it is, because if that criminal is successful at that house, who's to say the next time he comes back and it's going to be your house? So being good neighbors is good for everyone.
Yeah. Sheriff Niles, we know that if there's an emergency, automatically you call 911. But what's another phone number? Is there the same phone number to, if they just need help or report a crime or just, again, with your residential watch? What is the other number to call, non-emergency?
For outside the city limits of Enid, and we dispatch from almost all the small communities, it's 237-0244 or 237-0240. We'll get either one of those. And for Enid, City of Enid, I believe it's 242-7000 if you're living inside the city limits of Enid.
Okay, so again, that number outside the city limits of Enid, 237-0240. That is the non-emergency number if you want to call the Garfield County Sheriff's Department and perhaps talk with Sheriff Jerry Niles. Anything else that we haven't touched on in this holiday safety show? There's just so many things that go through.
The best thing is with the holidays, from our office, we wish that everyone have a joyous Christmas, a happy New Year. That safety is number one, and that if we're not at least prosperous, our families are all together. That's the most important thing. Yeah. Being good neighbors, being good family.
Yeah, very good. Sheriff, thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Steve.
And thank you for your time today on City Connections and watching City Connection, the holiday safety version. We appreciate you being with us today. Until the next time, make it a great day.